the power of sci-fi radio.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
We would be honored if you would join us.
It's another Thursday night, which means it must be Docking Bay 94. Hey, everybody. You could be listening to us on sci-fi.radio, sci-fi for your Wi-Fi. You could be watching us on Facebook or on YouTube or on Twitch, any of those places. All of those places new to us after having started the show 12 years ago on a completely different station. Holonet Radio. It was all Star Wars all the time. But it did not last all the time. It didn't last. It lasted a couple of years, and it was pretty much gone. And we got ghosted. We got ghosted by the people who asked us to do a show.
I know. Jeez Louise.
It happens sometimes. Yet, here we are. Still plugging away. Season 12, Episode 1. Such as it is.
Happy.
Woo. I am Sean Obi-Shawn Crosby.
This is Jess Donoho.
I'm calling Kaylee Crosby.
Colleen sounded kind of quiet.
It's because my microphone fell and it was facing away from me.
Oh, weird.
Better now?
No.
Well, then that's not the reason why.
Oh.
That's better.
No, you sound much better.
Woo!
Nothing a little volume can't help with. 12 years ago, we didn't have a theme.
Yeah.
We stole a theme. We used ELO music, which was good. And now we have pseudo ELO music.
It kind of turned out that way, didn't it?
Yeah. I think we requested a song that sounded like one song and got a song that sounded like a different song. And that's how life is.
And Kit's with us tonight too. Yay!
Kit does all of our social media posting over on Docking Bay 94, the Facebook page.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. And also our control document with all of our cool topics and such. So, right on.
And hey to Eric, and hey to Laura, and hey to Talonthorn, and Kim Lee.
Hey, nice. Alan Kalachi's over on YouTube.
Yep, I see you there.
Hey, Alan.
Yeah.
We were making plans for the big Star Wars library blowout, which is moving from Rancho Cucamonga to Upland. We talked about that earlier today.
That's cool.
That should be fun, I think. Gosh. All sorts of stuff.
All right. Well,
really busy.
I guess we'll delve right into what we've done in the past week.
Wow.
Let's see. Who wants to start?
Well, let's see. We all went to see Indiana Jones, which we're
Yes.
going to talk about a little later on.
Oh, we can't talk about it yet?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll wait.
Oh,
We're
well.
waiting.
Which was pretty cool.
When are we waiting
There won't
till?
be any spoilers.
Yeah,
I mean,
no
we're gonna
spoiler
try to avoid
review when we
spoilering
talk
it.
about it. I know it's only been out a week.
Yes.
We're not mean, horrible people.
But I would like to share my reaction to it.
Yes, completely.
So we did that. We went and saw Indy. Jeff, when did you see Indy?
What do you mean?
Oh, with us.
With
Duh.
us.
Back in 1981, I
Right,
think.
a long time ago. The sound you are hearing is Colleen banging her forehead against the microphone.
I was 10 at the time, and
It's been a really long week, I guess. It's always a long week, but man.
It was back in the summer of 1981. We were facing off against the movie wars.
No, I just couldn't remember
Memorial
last
Day
Friday when we went to the movies with Jeff.
yeah, and Sparrow.
Right, and Sparrow.
Duh.
We took a photograph together.
Right.
All of
yeah.
us.
Yeah, and we ran into somebody, but that's later.
Yeah, we'll talk about it later.
Wah, wah.
We did the 4th of July parade.
Yay!
Here in Westchester. It's
Yeah.
all a scant 3 blocks from our house or something.
Yeah, that's about how long the parade is.
So wait, what time? when later are we going to talk about this so that I know when to go back to it?
Let's
Indy?
go back to it at the half hour.
So it's 7:30.
Yes.
Okay.
7:30 Pacific, 10:30 Eastern,
Yes.
or whatever the half hour is
Yeah.
for you, wherever you happen to be in the world. We will talk about Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, which,
Yes.
much to my surprise, had nothing to do with soap.
I know. What the heck?
I mean, I was completely ready.
Good gravy.
But yeah,
You were not. Okay, so things that we did other than that. Oh, I know what is completely not on our document that Sean and I did on Saturday.
slept in.
Well, yes, but we don't normally put that on there.
Went to
we
IKEA.
Went to the Disney exhibit
Oh, we did. Yeah.
and to IKEA, but
To
yeah,
IKEA.
we went to the Disney exhibit, which is there's an auction that's happening at the end of the month of Disney park items like ride cars and
Yeah.
signage and documentation and things like that. And I said, hey, let's go out to Burbank and go to this exhibit. And while we're there, let's go to IKEA because we have in Burbank the largest IKEA in North America.
Yeah.
And I wanted to have lunch there.
It's massively huge.
Yeah.
Has
It,
some,
it really, really is.
Meatballs and lingonberry sauce.
Yes. Yes, we did. And we ended up spending 4.5 hours at IKEA just because it's so huge.
It
We
took
didn't
us way too long.
we didn't linger.
No.
We just walked through we had lunch.
We
that was
didn't
lingering.
have, we didn't have a compass
I see.
either.
Oh,
We
okay,
kinda
that's
needed
probably
a
it.
compass.
But
I
I felt like
projected arrows.
Well, I feel like the IKEA by us, the Carson IKEA, is it has more shortcuts so that you can get back somewhere.
Yeah, you can go to a different section in the winter, and yeah.
But
right away.
when we looked at the sign that showed the shortcuts, it looked like it was just as long to just stay where you were. So
The
I had to go to the
IKEA
bathroom, but
the IKEA in Burbank
yeah.
is 456,000 square feet. It is, however, not the world's largest.
No,
It's the
equivalent,
largest
yeah,
in North
yeah,
America.
yeah, yeah.
The largest IKEA is in South Korea, 625,000 square
You think
feet.
the biggest one would be in Sweden?
You would think that.
but Sweden's not very big.
But
Yeah, true.
the thing you have to remember is that IKEA
But it's from there.
IKEA exists because of people who don't have a lot of space in their apartments.
IKEA exists because of World War II. Do you want me to explain that?
Knock yourself out.
The type of furniture that they had was for, it was invented and designed for all of the rebuilding that happened in Europe after World War II.
Not just college kids
Yeah.
and divorced men.
Nope.
Oh,
Yeah.
well then Jonathan Colton is wrong.
Yes, he is. Anyway, yeah, we went and had, I had the kids' meal at
Yeah.
IKEA because it was silly. They had 8 meatballs was the smallest amount you could get in an adult meal.
Yes.
And honestly, what I really wanted was 6 meatballs. I ended up with 4 meatballs, so I bought a little potato cake to go with it, and some dessert because dessert.
Well, always dessert. Yeah.
And we didn't buy anything special when we were at IKEA. I can't even remember what we bought, but it wasn't.
What did we buy? We
Nothing
bought
fancy. We bought a little basket.
We did not buy
Bought some
anything
cookies.
more expensive than $12. Which
and
was
yet
that little
we
basket.
still ended up with $70 that we spent at IKEA. Yeah, we bought a set of steak knives.
Okay.
We bought,
Yeah.
which were $7.
Oh, okay. Man.
And worth every penny.
Good grief.
Let me tell you,
What was that?
the $7 steak knife
Oh,
set.
steak knives, right.
Yeah, but we didn't buy anything fancy. And then we went over to the gallery where
which was in a former Sears in the mall.
Yeah.
The Van Eaton Gallery, which has like an office, but then they do their exhibits somewhere else, which is interesting. And this Disney exhibit is called the Joel McGee Disneyland Collection.
Yeah.
Now, they seem to do this every once in a while where somebody's like, oh, we're just going to put our collection up for sale. And I'm always shocked at the stuff that people have. It's like, how did you get a Skyway car? How did you get a Dumbo ride elephant?
Yep.
I mean, it's just freaking crazy.
And they had the driver's seat and the drive control panel from a monorail.
From a monorail. It
And
was,
they had
it was nuts.
a control something from the Haunted Mansion.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I remember what it was.
It was the whole ride control module that you would see. You pass it when you get in the Doom buggy.
Oh, you get on there.
And go. I should have preloaded all of these pictures. But I'm trying to sort of access my phone here.
So to answer a question from the audience, Mela asked if I didn't buy fabric for another 18th century gown because you used to be able to buy these really great sheet sets or comforter covers at IKEA that had perfectly appropriate or pretty close reproductions of fabric that was available in the 18th century for making clothing.
Yeah.
And women's clothing in particular. And unfortunately, in about the past maybe 5 years, they've discontinued all those patterns and they just don't make them anymore. So it's really disappointing.
Good grief, really?
Yeah, and
it was kind of a drag. Colleen was very sad.
Yeah, but I had gone there with a couple of friends about 3 months ago. I want to say 2 months ago, and trying to get them some of the fabric, and it was gone, and I felt bad that I even told them about it because I remembered it not being there the last time I went. Yeah. So it's kind of sad.
Hi to Jack, and is this Tom Gears McTinkersome? Is that Tom?
Yeah, that's Tom.
Okay.
Tom Piedmont, who was at the parade with us.
On YouTube. I'm sorry. I'm just cutting into people that I've noticed have just been popping in, like David and stuff.
Well, we've also got Lori, Kelly, Mela,
Randy?
and Randy over on Facebook. And Mela notes that eBay seems to have the fabric fairly frequently.
Wow. Okay. So somebody had gotten a bunch and
well, it's just the type of fabric. It's a floral with very small print, and it has like certain color combinations, and so it's too complicated to go into right now, I guess. But you can also buy, if you wanted to buy that fabric, you could go to the Colonial Williamsburg website, and they have that fabric. But it's not, it's not the same price that you would get a sheet at IKEA.
Yeah,
it's like, $14 to $20 a yard or $25 a yard.
Gotcha.
I haven't looked since the pandemic was over when all the prices on everything went way up. So can't tell you. And then over on Twitch, who else did we have?
Oh, Don just popped in. So.
Don. Hey, Don. Don gets demerits for being late. No, he doesn't.
Oh, wow. Detention.
Okay, so Sean, did you want to say anything else about the exhibit, the Disneyland exhibit?
Well, yeah. So I was gonna show pictures from it, and I got them all set up over here. But my dumb phone doesn't want to show me pictures in the order in which they were taken.
Yeah.
Oh well, at least you
figure.
can just show some pictures.
Yes, if I can find at least one of them. That was taken during the date in question.
Oh, I see. On all of the pictures from your phone. I thought you meant just from that day. Oh.
No, and
that's rude.
And so like I can load one up, but I can't see exactly what it is because they're not in date. Okay, maybe this worked. We went on what, the 1st?
Yes.
All right.
Sorry, I had to think about that.
That's okay.
What is today?
So, a lot of this stuff, and I'll throw it up here, and I will
Hello, Vicky.
explain what we're looking at. That's at IKEA. That's Devil's Tower.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
This means something.
It is a mashed potatoes Devil's Tower.
Yeah.
Obviously, I need to go a little later.
Man, those
In the
boulders are
day.
really green.
What was really green?
Those boulders. are
Oh
really green.
yeah.
See, I can't flip through these, which is really weird.
Oh yeah, that is.
I can only do like one at a time,
Yeah.
And I'm frozen.
which is
Whatever.
really confusing. This I want. Are you frozen?
Apparently.
Oh.
Yeah.
crap.
Don't worry about me. Worry about the photos.
Sure. This is a Moldorama plastic toy making machine that you would put in a quarter,
Yeah.
and then you would get this really awesome toy out of it.
Yeah.
Do you still have one on the shelf behind you? I guess you
Uh,
don't. I don't see one.
They're kind of hidden in the behind me. But last time I was
Hmm.
in Chicago, I got a couple. I took a couple pictures of.
You used to be able to get them at zoos and museums.
Right, the Chinese
Yeah.
theater had one.
Oh yeah.
Which was great, and it looked like the Chinese. It was this little red plastic one that was the shape of the Chinese.
I guess your phone's not going to give us any more
I
pictures,
guess it's
huh?
just
I
it's
mean-
just like up yours. It doesn't care.
Bummer.
Our feed is like cycling right now anyway,
Yeah.
so I don't know what's up with that.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Oh, Don is sitting in the corner.
Well, let
Oh.
me see if I can
Steve
get
and Vicky,
Colleen
hey there.
reloaded.
Steve's watching it, Vicky too. Hey.
Yeah, in fact, the
From-
the whole screen is like completely locked up now. It has completely melted my computer.
Good gravy.
Well, that is sad.
Windows Explorer is not responding. Isn't that great?
Rude. Well, I will describe then some of the things that we saw in addition to the Moldorama. We saw Haunted Mansion, like, I think we saw a Haunted Mansion costume, I want to say.
I think they
And
they had the three hitchhiking ghosts from there, but they're the ones that appear in the Doom buggy. They
Okay.
had an actual Doom buggy,
Oh man.
which was very cool. All sorts of stuff, and let's see.
they had some wallpaper. They had a stretching portrait canvas and two of the, I don't know, like a framed wallpaper from there. And wallpaper from Club 33.
Okay.
They had all these framed things. They had a Skyway car,
Oh,
number
okay.
36, which was an orange car, and it was
Oh,
signed
cool.
by the Imagineer.
Like
who,
Bob and stuff, or
Yeah, Bob
Oh,
Gurr.
okay.
Bob Gurr,
Yeah.
came back and
Sweet.
signed it.
They had a really cool Fantasyland Skyway ride that, tells you about the ride a little bit.
Yeah.
There's a Moldorama. That's the Goofy that this particular Moldorama produced, rather. Sorry. I'm getting all sorts of error messages over here. Everything's going nuts.
Goofy.
They have a phone that was the Club 33 intercom telephone. And it's like one of those late 70s handset phones,
Huh.
mid 70s, I guess, where you
Okay.
would, the dialing was on the inside of the thing, but it was still wired.
Yeah.
They had here's a Firehouse 5 album, which used to play at
Firehouse
at
5
Disneyland.
plus 2, which was like super cool. And
The only photos I have from IKEA are Sean on his phone and the row that we parked in, so we didn't get lost.
right.
Yeah,
I'm
but
just-
it was really cool. And if you live in Southern California and you can spare the time,
Yeah.
it's worth it to go. It's free to get in, and it's about, I'd say it would take you between an hour and 2 hours. we were there for an hour and a half.
Oh.
And by myself, I probably could have just looked for an hour.
I could have used more time.
And Sean could have used more time.
Colleen was done.
But we'd already been to IKEA.
They
for
should have put
4
it
hours.
inside of IKEA. That you would have like had two things at once.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Right. I actually could have used less time at IKEA.
Here's the catalog,
Okay.
which shows some of the animatronic stuff. And there was a lot of stuff in this catalog that is not there.
Skeleton.
Lots of models and things for various attractions, like Rocket to the Moon. I think they had the original model for.
And they also
Okay.
had some items from Disney World. It wasn't all Disneyland.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. There were
And there was a
like,
big
they
exhibit
had a
of
figment.
badges.
I think I still have some of mine. I gotta fish them
Yeah,
out.
from when you worked there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had a figment, like a figment animatronic from Florida, which was really cool. And they had some Tower of Terror stuff. They had the television from Tower of Terror, which was running the video, which was
And all
super
the
cool.
tickets were very neat.
And that's what I'm
Yeah.
showing you right now. Is
Yeah.
the tickets.
That's cool.
25
man.
cents for parking.
Right.
Now it's
I wonder we have
$30.
Lots of
I wonder
maps.
if we have some of this. We might have something like that at the house. I gotta look.
Oh, you know what? I take that back. I think that I would have been happier with 2 hours there because I didn't get to look at those maps at all.
Yeah, I didn't get to look at enough of them either, which was a real bummer.
We did get our picture. Sean and I had our picture taken in front of a train car from.
Was
I
it-
think I can.
Oh, Casey
Casey
Jr.
Casey
Jr.?
Jr. Yeah.
Bum, ba, 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 bum, ba, bum, bum,
Yeah,
bum, bum,
exactly.
You know, Disney dollars. They had a whole bunch of Disney dollars.
Oh, remember those?
And so, like a
Gosh.
$1 Disney dollar was worth like $40
Yeah.
now,
Right.
which was
Oh,
interesting.
man.
I was sad that I didn't still have any Disney dollars.
One of the things
I don't think we do at home. We might. I've got.
I thought we had some somewhere, but Lord knows where they are.
Yeah.
Is the problem?
I might have some of the
or
ride
they got
tickets, too.
stolen when we got robbed. Like no idea.
I doubt that very seriously. They would have had to have found them.
I think we have some ride tickets still, like from.
Oh, really?
Like from when
That's
when
awesome.
Aubrey's grandparents used to go.
Nice.
There were a lot of things that they used to sell in stores. There's a whole pennant collection that we didn't see. That wasn't there.
Oh wow.
They had an old popcorn box from like 1955, which was really, really pretty funny. I got Colleen a Disney charm bracelet, and they had those there for
Okay.
considerably more than I had paid for them.
Oh, okay. Pretty darn cool though.
Anyway, it was fun and it's recommended.
Yeah,
That you go there.
We really enjoyed ourselves. If you can get to it, definitely check it out. Because some of the things, like at the hotel, the Disneyland Hotel, you used to be able to drive a Jungle Cruise boat, a remote control
yeah.
Jungle Cruise
Yeah.
boat, and they had one there, which was super neat. They had a lot of Jungle Cruise items, and the neatest thing that I saw, if I could take something from there, and it's really hard to choose
What
one
the
thing,
heck?
but they had this Indiana Jones ride timing model that they made. It was mostly
Oh.
like foam core and stuff, and it was so that you could figure out where you would be in the ride at what time, and then sync all the effects and stuff. And then the guy who owned it turned it into a game with
Nice.
game pieces and cards to draw, and like so you would move your thing a space and do whatever.
Wow.
It was
So-
really neat.
I would take the Skyway car.
There's a picture that you were flipping through of
Yeah.
The Jungle Cruise costume.
Yeah, the uniforms.
Because I was wardrobe, and it's like the one on the right was the newer one that came in I think after I had left.
The one that's all khaki and really boring.
You know, the one on the left, I remember. I just don't remember those shorts. There were shorts, but I don't remember them looking like
It
that.
might have been a later edition.
Yeah, I don't think they were cargo shorts. I think they're just
Yeah.
they're just regular shorts that were khaki colored.
This is that Indiana Jones game that was pretty cool, and but it's also the ride model for the attraction.
Yeah.
It's like really neat. They had all sorts of amazing stuff, and you could spend many, many hours if you're a Disney fiend checking stuff out.
Yeah.
Lots of posters, lots of stuff that they sold, like this thing in the corner. I wonder if I can click on these and get a better. No, I can't. So it's Wally Bogue, who was the star of the Golden Horseshoe Saloon. Yeah. They had balloons that they would sell that was in a little figural box. It looked like him. Huh. And they had that there. They had a bunch of Aunt Jemima stuff too.
Yeah.
Which was really kind of interesting to see.
Casa de Fritos.
After all of these years. But anyway, really super neat. And all of this stuff is for sale, which is the thing that's really a bummer. So it's open for another week. I think it closes on the 16th. Or maybe... No, I think it closes on the 17th, which is actually the anniversary of the day Disneyland opened.
Cool.
So you can either go to Disneyland or you can buy this garbage.
Oh, boy.
Anyway, interesting stuff. Let me see if I can reboot Colleen here, who's still stuck.
Neat to see.
I'm still frozen.
You're still frozen.
Does that mean I can go sit in the other room and watch TV?
Well, we can still hear you.
Oh well. I guess it's good enough for radio. And then let's see what else we did. So on the 4th, well, Jeff, did you go to Knott's on the 3rd or over the weekend?
Yeah.
Why don't you tell us about what you did at Knott's?
Gosh, I mean, we went there, went on a few rides, and then went on home. But it was on Sunday because it was just hot. It was getting hot and super muggy.
It can be miserable at Knott's when it's hot.
Yeah, and I had skipped going to the bike ride because that was the same day as well, because I was not going to be able to ride that bicycle out in the nasty weather. So I was like, okay. So we went there and went on like the I think it's called Calico Rapids now. It used to be called Bigfoot Rapids. Now it's called Calico Rapids, but Bigfoot's still in there.
Are they going like hitting their cowboy theme and Old West theme heavier than they used to be, or am I imagining that?
What do you mean?
Well, it seems like when you talk about Knott's a lot lately, you talk about like the Old West portion of it.
Yeah.
And I feel like that the park kind of went away from that Old West theme a little bit. It was still there, but in the background.
Well, they had their whole boardwalk thing that they were doing, the Roaring 20s.
Yeah.
And that's what they're getting rid of, I think.
I mean, it's changing. It's like changing a bit. Yeah, it's a little different than it used to be. Huh. I mean, they don't have a dolphin show, of course, anymore. But
they had a dolphin show?
Yeah, they had a dolphin show and like sea lions show. Yeah, it was the weirdest thing.
Wow.
Right. It's right. It was like right next to Knott's Berry Tales used to be.
Huh.
Or actually, it's back in that location now. But
weird.
there's like a Johnny Rockets or something there now, and where that used to be. It's really weird. But no, I mean, I think I don't know. I don't know if it's gotten any different over the years. But I think when they brought back like Ghost Town Alive, it's gotten a lot of people there.
Yeah.
And then I think they're trying to reincorporate some of that area that's and make it more and continue the Western theme a little more, because like Bigfoot Rapids and stuff, it was like not necessarily a Western thing, so they made it Calico Rapids. And
Calico Rapids sounds like they're going more Western with it.
So I think they're trying to, reclaim that area as more Western-like.
Huh.
But yeah, and so we went on that ride, and I was the one who got wet the most, apparently. Mostly in my shoes.
On rides. Oh, I hate that. Hate.
Yeah, everyone else, little dribble with me, and kaboosh. I'm like, thanks.
Yeah.
And then the other ride we went on was like Wipeout, which is just it's one of those you sit down and you're sitting down on the outer rim of a disc, and it'll go, this disc spins this way, that way, whatever, so you're getting centrifugal force.
I don't like spinning.
Yeah, and I'm on the outside and Sparrow's next to me, and boy, it's okay for a little while until it cranks up to speed, and then you feel like your ribs are going to snap. Yeah. So
Sounds
not
fun.
not a fun ride. No.
Ugh.
No,
I don't
no,
like
not at all.
spinning, so I could. Yeah, that's a big no
Yeah.
for me.
And we got food.
All right.
You know, and that's then on the way out we we were at that shop and I'm like, a cookbook.
Oh yeah, Jeff brought me a cookbook. Well,
So I know
Sean and
someone
I,
who would like
but
this cookbook.
I haven't opened it yet. I need to open it. Oh, my camera's frozen. You'll have to
It's-
hold it in front of your camera.
Yeah, sorry. I'm
I'm
really.
sitting
Let's-
there holding
I'll
it in
see
front of
if
the
it,
camera going, why is the delay that long?
Let me see if it shows up in picture. It should.
Yeah, it should because you don't
Yeah,
have
there it
your
is. Yeah.
background.
Yeah,
I know.
Jeff's got it.
Yeah.
Jeff's got it.
There you go.
Thank you.
I just
Yeah.
can't get Colleen for some reason.
So,
yeah.
so
Pretty
that's
darn cool. Yeah.
It's got illustrated with over 100 new and vintage photographs.
Yeah.
So this will be some bedtime reading too. But also, where am I going to get those boysenberries?
Exactly.
I don't have any. But now I want boysenberry pie.
I see.
Yeah, my camera's not even on.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, see, that's a problem.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it is in fact 7:30. Do we want to delay until Sean is back in his seat?
Well, I'm here. I'm just. Let's delay until we get you up and running.
Yeah. We can
It's
hold.
kind of what I meant.
It's still going.
Do
Yeah.
your-
Yeah.
All right, so that
And then we
was.
had
Did you had a barbecue at home too?
yeah on the 4th though.
Oh,
so,
on the
Yeah,
4th?
so yeah, we never we after the parade when we all went over to.
Oh my gosh, were you totally late to your own barbecue?
Well, I mean, they knew I'd be out
Oh,
doing this, and
because I was
didn't-
going to say you should have just told
Yeah.
us we would have come
no,
away sooner.
No, not at all. No, it wasn't a problem. So what happened was, well, I had thought that I think I was confusing it with something with like New Year's, but because the July 4th we go to Eric and Liz's for the we go to Eric and Liz's for the barbecue thing they're doing afterwards, and I thought I was going to be there. We'd be there kind of late. You know,
Oh,
like,
okay.
like,
So
know,
you
like-
told them that you wouldn't be home.
So I
for
wouldn't
the
probably wouldn't be
barbecue.
home at all. Yeah, and then I
Oh,
got
okay.
home in time, and they had already finished cooking, but they were still, doing stuff like
Yeah.
lighting the snakes, those little snake things on
Yeah.
fire that make basically
Make
ashes,
little ash. Yeah.
and smoke bombs, stuff like
Right.
that. But it's
And so before that, we all did the Westchester Independence Day Parade,
Yes.
which is super fun.
Yeah.
It starts at our local library and goes like the maybe 6 blocks to the start of Loyola Marymount University.
yeah.
And the length of the parade entries is way longer
Yes.
than
The actual.
the actual parade route.
Yeah.
So, and we were entry number like 11, I think.
Yeah, we were really early.
We were 10.
We were
Yeah.
10. So we were finished and
Yeah.
standing in the parking lot chatting.
Yeah.
And I kept weighing in my mind, like, do I go back to Eric and Liz's
Yeah.
or do I wait until the parade's over so I can walk down the middle of the street? Because
Yeah,
I
exactly.
have gone while the parade is still on,
Yeah.
and it's just a mess trying to get the little space on the sidewalk that there is between all the people watching the parade. It's
Yeah.
it's just easier to wait.
Exactly. But it was fun.
But yeah, I didn't dress up. I just wore like what I was wearing. I was wearing like a pilot t-shirt and a pair of cutoff jeans.
Yeah.
And I threw my helmet on, and you can't see more than my head. And I looked at the pictures that Eric took, and you can't even see me at all. So I didn't even have to wear the helmet.
Exactly.
But Sean handed me a porg that he had in the car.
Yeah.
And the porg, he showed me that it was a puppet. And you can operate it so the puppet's little arms,
Yeah,
the porg's arms wave up and down like this.
Yeah.
And so for the entire parade, I had the porg like dancing around and flapping his arms.
Yeah.
And the number of people that flapped their arms back was hysterical.
Nice.
Well,
It was just really funny.
and you know what that actually sort of does for me? That really gives me hope in regards to the Muppet Project that I want to do, where we
Yeah.
just
Yep.
work the Muppets right out the car and have
Yeah.
people engage. You had a Porg that's got very limited engagement, and people were still interacting with it and excited by it
Yeah.
and all of that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Whenever I do the parades, then and usually I'd have Sparrow and the Pestner. Sparrow's stayed home this time. Sparrow would have either, Grogu or the big old pork with the big flappy wings and have it wave at people and stuff. And if the kids
Yeah.
would be freaking out and go, "Ah!"
Well, and the
You
other
know,
thing was
crappy.
is that Sean had a baby Yoda, a Grogu,
Yes.
in the back window of the driver's side
Yeah.
of the car. And this parade, even though it's super short, it has 3 different
it's
announcement
really
stands.
enthusiastic.
It's
yeah.
the parade is really, it's a great parade.
Yeah.
Highly recommended. If you're looking for a real hometown feel
Yeah.
parade. And so at the very first announcement booth, the guy is reading off what our entry is about, and he's like, the 501st and the Road Squadron, and oh my God, it's Baby Yoda! He just lost his mind.
Yep.
It was hysterical. So yeah, if this is one of those parades that has all of the little kids marching in it and the various school floats,
Yeah.
and a favorite entry of mine is there's a group, and I didn't see them this year, but we were in a different spot in the parade than we usually are, so I
Okay.
can't guarantee that they were there.
Ah.
But there's usually a group of people who dress as flight attendants from as far back as they can get flight attendant
Oh,
uniforms.
okay.
And so they'll be all different eras, like Pan Am from the
Yeah.
1960s and people from the 1970s and people
Yeah,
modern.
I don't remember if there were. Huh.
Yeah, I didn't see them.
I
s-
didn't
I
see
them,
them.
But I also never saw the St. A's, the school,
Who were like
and they were
two
like
behind us.
Two behind us. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
normally I see a lot more
Yeah.
of what's going on.
Yeah. The guy with the pipe organ thing was there. The back
And I
of the
never
The
saw him
Calliope?
either.
Yeah.
Never saw the
I
Calliope.
No,
saw
I
him when he
didn't
pulled
either.
into the parking lot.
I didn't even see him when he pulled into the parking
Oh, okay.
lot. So, and I know it wasn't when I left, because at first I was like, okay, the parade's not quite over, but I'm going to leave.
Yeah.
But by the time I walked across the parking lot, the parade was over. So I was seeing
Yeah.
like the last float go by over the top of the hedge.
Oh, okay.
When I was there.
Gotcha.
So that's wacky.
Yes, this is me. I think your camera may have died.
Completely.
Oh.
And so as a result, I have fired up
A different camera.
another
Do you want to
camera.
hand it to me?
If it will reach, will it reach?
Just barely. It's not turned on though.
Well, then it got unplugged or something.
Yeah, it doesn't have any blue light on it.
Da, 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 da,
It
da,
has
da,
a
da.
white light. No, just hang on to it.
Oh man. But it was
This is
neat.
fun radio.
There were so many entries like like last time, but it was still fun.
Yeah, and then we went to the barbecue.
Yep, Eric and Liz's
At
barbecue.
Eric and Liz's,
Yeah.
and we had some great. Sorry about that.
Oh,
Sorry.
I didn't know you were trying to grab it.
Yeah.
We had some great food,
yeah,
and we had a small crowd.
yeah,
It was nice,
yeah.
and
That's true.
Yeah, really
not
great.
not super crowded.
fruit
It was
salad.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as far as fireworks goes, we didn't see any
Oh, yeah.
because the 3 of us drove home before
Yeah,
the fireworks
yeah.
started, and then Jeff hopped in his car and went straight
Yeah.
home. You probably saw some on
yeah,
the way home.
yeah. And then there were some people shooting off fireworks that were like, I don't know what it was like. They were probably going off, and they were too low, maybe. Because normally, like, there would be like professional fireworks that should be way up in the air, and these are really low because they were really loud. Like, like they shouldn't be that loud, and shaking stuff, whatever when they go off.
Wow. Yeah,
So,
that's scary.
yeah. So people, it's like maybe if you're not a professional, maybe not shoot off professional fireworks.
So Mila says she used to be in a 5-mile-long parade in the drill team in the 1970s.
Oh wow.
I'm not sure if she's saying that she was in the Westchester parade.
We've
But-
certainly done super long parades like that.
Oh, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
Done lots of parades. This one is the shortest and the most fun.
Yeah.
Now it has lights on.
Well, it
Yay.
did when I handed it to you before. We put it on top of the monitor, and then it didn't.
Oh boy. Exciting.
Wow. Oh, I didn't put my light on. Maybe that would help.
Well, I mean, I
Well,
can really
and
see it
I
now.
have to make
Not.
adjustments to it, so at
Okay.
least we've got it going,
It works.
Yay! I'm back.
right? Isn't that
Um,
amazing?
And what else was I going to say about the 4th of July? Oh, I, of course, this weekend did my annual viewing of Independence Day,
Oh, okay. There you go.
which I always do. And I always try to have some sewing to work on. And what I did this year was I worked on my 18th century skirt.
Oh, okay.
I sewed a side seam, and
Yikes.
then I pleated one panel, and then realized that I had pleated the wrong end.
Oh.
Like I pleated the bottom instead of the top. Take all the pleats out and pleat
dear.
replete it at the top. And I've left it there because I pleated the front and back, but I haven't sewn the other seam or hemmed the bottom
Okay.
because I need to see if my pleats look right
Oh.
before. I don't want to lock it down until then. Kelly says we have a radio comedy show.
That's
I
right.
agree.
I mean,
Do we want to talk about Indy, or do we want, Sean, do you want to talk about your day yesterday?
We could talk about Indy, and we can come back to my day. I mean, we're 15 minutes past what we said we were going to do.
Okay.
And like I said, no actual
No, we're not
spoilers
going to
here.
spoil anything. Except, oh my gosh.
Right. I mean, because so the movie did come out, but what I'm seeing is that there's a huge backlash of people, and many people who haven't even seen it, that are just hating on the movie.
oh, yeah.
Oh, tons of people are hating on it that haven't seen it.
It didn't do particularly well this past weekend. It made
Which is a super bummer.
It made $60 million opening weekend, and
Yeah.
you would think that, wow, $60 million seems pretty good. But, they expect movies to do hundreds of millions of dollars now.
and it also took more than $60 million to make.
oh, yeah.
It
oh, yeah.
took almost $300 million to make. It was a really expensive movie.
Yeah.
It just absolutely huge quantities
Yeah,
of money
yeah.
to make this movie. But when the original Raiders of the Lost Ark came out, it also didn't do well opening weekend, and it was a word of mouth campaign that eventually caused it to do much better.
Yeah.
And then there was an eventual re-release which did even better.
Yeah.
So it's not a big deal. I mean, we don't have a horse in the race. It doesn't matter to us if it makes money or not.
No.
What does matter to me is that people don't let themselves get persuaded by the angry people on YouTube who
Oh, yeah,
haven't
yeah.
seen the
It
movie
does
yet.
matter to me if it doesn't succeed, because I want movies that I like to succeed so that they'll make more of them.
Well, but we know that they're not making another Indiana Jones movie. This is it. This is done.
Right,
Harrison
but-
Ford's done. The character's done.
But I want them to know that that's the kind of movie that they should be making.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I also want them to make new movies.
Yeah.
I'd like them to tell some new stories and
Yeah.
stuff too, and whatnot. Because the problem is that they do keep going back to the well for certain things.
Yeah.
And it's like, how about some new stories?
Lori,
Which would be really great.
Lori says she just hates the title of the movie. And basically, Lori, she says, until I really know the context, hopefully, the Dial of Destiny, it's just and I can't imagine that this is a spoiler.
It's not.
It's just the relic that they're looking for.
right.
Yeah.
Well, it's the MacGuffin.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's
it's the
so it
MacGuffin.
doesn't have a huge impact on the thing. And we've seen in the trailers that it's the Antikythera mechanism, which in reality, that actual mechanism really does exist.
Oh.
It was found in a shipwreck
Yeah.
off the coast of Antikythera, which is how it got its name.
Yes.
And it is largely believed to have basically been a mechanism used for ocean navigation.
It's like a
But we've
calendar.
only found part of it. It was kind of broken, and it's like they've never tried to clean it and fire it up. They just put it on display, and that was it. And actually, what's really funny, you can go out and they've done 3D scans of it, and you can 3D print one of these, which
Yeah.
of course is not going to work. But Gene Turnbow, our station manager, printed one out for his dad as a gift, which was kind of
That's
cool.
neat.
And
Yeah.
so it is a real item, which is a bit of a departure from Indy because it doesn't have a real supernatural presence.
Yeah.
But it is the thing that everyone's chasing after. And I throw this theory up here a lot, and I feel like it's still very valid with Indiana Jones 5 in that the Indiana Jones movies
Yeah.
have a vibe of the time period in which they take place.
Yeah.
And so Raiders of the Lost Ark were the old movie serials. Temple of Doom were like the Universal horror movies. The Last Crusade was more of like a buddy adventure picture. Crystal Skull took place in the 50s. Space aliens and B movies were huge in the 50s, and
Yeah.
so we got a space alien B movie. This movie takes place in 1969, and it has a huge James Bond vibe to me. A very spy thriller kind of thing that is the kind of movie that was very popular in the 1960s.
Yeah.
So it does still seem to kind of hold true with that. And so if you go in there sort of expecting that, kind of like, oh, it's going to be sort of a spy thriller kind of deal, with a couple of flashbacks in there, it's actually really fun because you're kind of in on the joke. You sort of know what's gonna happen. I found that I enjoyed Crystal Skull more than other people because I knew it was going to be a space alien B movie. And a lot of people who didn't get that were really mad. It got so mad.
I would like to say that I loved this movie. I thought it was. It's either my second favorite or my third favorite of the Indiana Jones movies, and it was everything that I wanted it to be. Knowing that it is the end of a franchise, and knowing that that they're
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
have to balance fan service with
Right.
a story. I think they did a great job.
They're saying goodbye to a franchise. They're saying goodbye to a character or characters, and there's a lot of interest. Like a lot of fans are getting really mad that Short Round doesn't make an appearance in the movie, but the director said that would have been such hardcore fan service. They had no real use for him at all. That they just didn't want to do it. In the same way that Sala didn't want to be in the wedding scene of Crystal Skull
Yeah.
because he thought that the fans deserved more than that. And so he's like, no, I don't want to be there just to be there. Give me
Yeah.
something to do. And if I don't have anything to do, I'll skip it. And so that's why he wasn't in Crystal Skull. And so Ki Hai Kwan was off making Everything Everywhere All at Once
Yeah.
while they were making this movie. And based on the virtue of the fact that he won an Oscar for his role,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he made the right choice.
Yeah.
So we love him, don't get me wrong. But we got the great Indy Short Round reunion on the Oscar stage when Harrison Ford presented his film with an Oscar.
Yeah.
I mean, that was amazing. So, I mean, what's going to be better than that? Absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
I put this film very firmly into my number 3 slot, I think. I would do Raiders, Last Crusade, Dial of Destiny,
Yeah.
Temple of Doom and Crystal Skull waffle for fourth place for me. They're kind of at a tie, I think, because it depends on the day which I might like better. But they're both on the same plane for me in terms of like how good of an indie movie they are. And it's an Indiana Jones movie. There's so much fantasy involved in those that you gotta cut it a lot of slack.
What about you, Jeff? Where would you rate it? Like in what order in the movies?
Golly.
We are sort of springing it on them. Sorry.
Yeah, I
Oh
know.
God. No. I was.
But you've had a week to think about it.
Yeah, I was also grabbing I put a link in the description that had like somewhat of a spoilery thing in
You
it
know,
about the device, so I went in and said, "Don't click it."
You can edit what you put in there.
Oh, well, I
In the
figured
chat?
because it was already in there that you couldn't go back and switch it. At least not on.
Yeah, see those 3 little dots?
Oh, that one. Okay, just
I
delete
think
it.
you can.
Let's see. Maybe say a little. Where's the old one here?
Click on those 3 dots. If I click on it, I can just hide it or report it. But
There we go.
since you
Never mind. It's
posted
gone.
it,
I took it.
Oh, there you
It's
go.
out. Okay, so the new one,
Yay.
the new one I posted on Facebook, is a link that came out long before the film, and it describes what the device is.
Right.
Anyway,
Great.
And
okay.
it's an interesting thing that it's an actual, like, it's an item we have.
Yeah.
Whereas like the Lost Ark, we don't have that. The Holy Grail, don't have it.
Yeah.
Sankara stones, what the hell?
Yeah, exactly.
Crystal skulls, me. You know, so
Yeah.
but
Dan Aykroyd has it.
Dan Aykroyd's got one. Right? He puts vodka in it. It's amazing. But yeah, I think that this is cool that
Anyway.
we've got the actual MacGuffin.
Yeah. As for where I'd put this, that's a tough one. It's definitely better than the last film. I'll tell you that. Crystal Skull.
It's
leaps and
more
bounds.
the suspension of disbelief
Yeah.
is more achievable.
Yeah. And I would probably, I don't know if I would put it above. If I would put it above Temple of Doom, I'd probably be kind of equal with it, to be honest, for me.
Okay.
So
So you are 1, 3, 4, and no,
yeah,
3, 2, and 5,
yeah,
and then
the
4.
fours at the end. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I wouldn't want to have to rate the Young Indiana Jones TV series in there.
No,
Because some of
it's
those episodes are
so
really
hit or
boring,
miss.
and
Yeah,
some
so-
of
Yeah,
them
they
are
are, yeah.
really great.
Yeah.
So I do like how you learn more history by watching those.
Yes.
Because Indy meets every celebrity that could possibly have been alive at the same time as his character.
Right.
He meets them all.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
He almost had like a May December romance with Edith Wharton. That was
Yeah.
weird.
That's weird.
But the part of the problem, and I showed Colleen one of these that I found on YouTube, was that they took out the old Indiana Jones bookends,
Yeah.
which gave you a lot more historical context for things,
Yeah.
which is missing from the new combined movies. They made these 1.5 hour long TV movies out of them, and they're just I miss old Indy. It took me a while to accept him, and now I miss him.
Yeah.
So.
Where's the eye patch?
Right.
Yeah.
Why is the eye patch? He's missing an eye? How did he lose an eye? What the what?
But
Okay. Let's see. We should Sean, tell us about what you did at Disney.
Man, I had a near perfect day at Disneyland. Just in terms of like logistics and stuff. I went yesterday and I left early with the intent of getting back early. That failed because I got home at like 10:30 or closer to 11. But I left here to get there, and it's about a 40-minute drive with no traffic, to get there by 2 p.m. Because if I got on premises and signed into Disneyland by 2, I was able to reserve a seat for Rogers the Musical, which is the cool musical presentation that they're doing in California Adventure at the Hyperion Theater.
yeah.
And that was like my main goal for the day. You can buy for $30 a reserved seat in an area that they give you popcorn and they give you a drink and you get a lanyard and you get a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm like, well, let's just see how this goes. And so I got there at 1:30 and like traffic was non-existent. It was like really great. I got a close parking spot in the parking structure, waltzed right through security with no issue, hit the tram, walked through the gate, bam. And then suddenly I had a half hour to kill. And so I waited around, looked at stuff until I was able to make my reservation. I got it for the next show. If you make a reservation in the morning because you're on site, you can get I think the 12 o'clock and the 2 o'clock show are the first two shows. And then afterwards, it's also every 2 hours. It's 4 and 6 and 8. And they have some standby seating if the crowd isn't full. But you really want to make a reservation. And so I did that just for me. And then I ran into somebody who watches the show, Sandra. I was hungry. I went over to Award Wieners to get a hot dog, which I've never done. I've never eaten there. And I thought, oh, this would be cool. And so I got a hot dog, and she walks up and she's like, I know you from somewhere. Where do I know you? And we talked about it for a while. And she realized that she knew me from here, from Docking Bay, and that we had a mutual friend on Facebook. And she was there taking pictures as part of a photo class that she's in. And so we took our hot dogs and we sat down and we talked about Disney and stuff. But it came time for me to go to the show. So I rolled into the theater and I felt really bad because I didn't have a pass for her to go. And I said, well, I'll come find you when I get out. And then the guy's like, nah, you just go in. It's cool. And so they let her in. We got seats on the floor, 4 rows from the front, on the left-hand side on the aisle. It was actually really good. And the show itself is about 45 minutes long. So they've written a whole bunch of extra songs. They've got really good cast members, as Disney usually does for their stage performances. They get really good people. The costumes were as dorky as they needed to be because of Hawkeye and the version we saw in Hawkeye. But they did that whole song live. And it jumps between time zones. It's in the 40s. It's modern day. And, you know, the 40s stuff is pretty well executed. Captain America starts out as his nerdy self and then becomes his big old hero self, which is really cool. And the big thing that they tell you when you sit down and you're waiting, and they're like, this is going to be worth it. This is going to be amazing. Why? Because Nick Fury sings, you know, which is pretty funny. Anyway, all of the talent was really good. The show was very, very fun. It's a great way to get out of the heat and into some air conditioning because you'll walk out of that theater with icicles off your nose. It's that cold in there. But the theater is great, and it hasn't really been open since before COVID, whenever they canceled their Frozen show. Yeah. They haven't had anything else in there. I talked to some people there, and they say that they have a closure date for this show, and it's a hard close. Like, when it's done, it's done. Whether they take it to Florida or not, who knows? But in the case of being here at the Hyperion Theater at California Adventure, when it's over, it is over. They've got something else they're getting ready to move in there. They're really excited about that. They say it's even cooler than this show, which they feel is kind of a placeholder. And I actually thought it was really fun.
Yeah.
So if you like the Avengers, it's really worth your time. If you want to get out of the heat, it's worth your time. And like I said, I got there half hour early. I waltzed right in. I got terrific seats. Everything worked out for me. Except I was waiting for Sandra, and she apparently walked right past me and went to Disneyland.
Oh, well, there you go.
Waited for like an hour, and I'm like, which was like really bizarre.
Okay.
Somebody rang our doorbell.
I'll go.
What the wild?
Don't forget the top of the hour.
I will not. And so that was really fun, and I watched a parade, and I got to show Sandra around Galaxy's Edge because she was like, Galaxy's Edge, yeah, that's just okay. Like, just okay? Galaxy's Edge is amazing. And so I took her out there and I showed her how to do the app and how to do bounty hunting and some of the secret Easter eggy stuff over there. And so by the time, and that's what took much longer because we were both going to leave at like 6 o'clock. And then here it is like 9:30 and we're like, maybe we can make it out before the fireworks. And and which we did just in time. But she ended up leaving Galaxy's Edge going, "Oh my God, that was great! I didn't know all this stuff happened." So it was a pretty good day at Disneyland.
Good.
But you should see the Rogers the Musical if you get the opportunity, because it is absolutely worth your time to do it, and it'll take an hour out of your day. And it was really great. It was really very fun.
Okay.
So I dug it. This is Docking Bay 94. You are either listening to us over at sci-fi.radio, sci-fi for your Wi-Fi. That's a URL. Type that in, check it out, look at the site. If you like this show or anything else that you hear on there, because we've got all sorts of shows going on all through the week that are hosted by live hosts. They have a Patreon and a PayPal and a coffee and a whole bunch of ways to keep the station going. It's not a pirate radio station, actually. They license their music. I have a morning show that I do from 9 to 11. All the music that I play is like legit licensed. We don't, we're not doing it on the sly over there. So that's pretty good. You could be watching us on YouTube or Facebook or Twitch. Any of those are great. The shows stay up on YouTube, I think, forever. They haven't told me they're getting rid of any of them yet. So that's pretty good. They're up on Twitch for 2 weeks. And Facebook, I don't know how long they stay on Facebook. Stay on Facebook for a while before they go away. And that's a good way to show other people what the show is and see what's up. I am Sean Obi-Shawn Crosby.
This is Jeff Donoho.
I'm Colleen Kaylee Crosby.
And thanks for hanging with us. Also on behalf of Kit Boba-Kit Sovine, who's doing all of our social media. This is the start of our 12th season, 13th season.
Something.
Figuring out the dates is really hard for me. So it's season 12, show 1.
Yeah.
I think we just finished our 12th year, and it's our 13th year.
Yeah.
So that, I believe, is how that works out.
Good gravy.
It's complicated, and we've been doing it for a very long time. So I am not good at math. Not good at math.
Alrighty. Let's see. Star Wars, Jeff. Do it.
There we are. Let's see here. July. We're going to go with the history first, obviously, and that's all this is anyway. Birthday history of July 3rd, 1926 is when Anne Garrity was born. And if you don't know who the heck that is, she was the voice of Beru Lars in the Star Wars radio drama.
Not to be confused with the movie version, who was overdubbed.
Yes. And she actually doesn't have a whole lot of credits, to be honest. She was on like Benson and San Elsewhere and such. It's like 7 credits or 6 credits other than the radio drama, so not a whole lot of other stuff in that. So I don't know where she went on from there, but yeah. Secondly, we have July 2nd, 1927. That's when Brock Peters was born. Another person that was from the radio drama. He was voice of Darth Vader. And all
Darth
three.
Vader.
And yeah, if you look up his credits, holy guacamole.
Brock Peters.
Yeah, he did a whole lot.
Is amazing.
Yeah.
And he's like being known for doing Vader.
Yeah.
And sadly, he passed away in like 2005. He's been gone like a really long time. But he's been in the Star Trek universe.
Yep.
He was on a movie I worked on, Undiscovered Country, the Star Trek 6 thing. He was in Soylent Green.
Mm-hmm.
He was the same character that he was in 6 in 4, Star Trek 4, the one with the whales.
Yeah.
My gosh, yeah.
Mission Impossible.
He was
Tarzan.
absolutely huge.
Yeah, it's nuts.
A supreme talent. But of course, his nice, big, deep voice made him a pretty good Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Except for the scene where he spends like a half an hour torturing
that was something.
Princess Leia.
Yeah.
That was like really awkward.
Yeah. Strangely, I would say that my favorite parts of his work in the radio drama was actually in the one that people didn't like that much, The Return of the Jedi, because before he chucks the chucks the Emperor down the score shaft.
Right.
But the lines that he gives them there, that he does there, I think was like my favorite. That he did the entire thing.
You know why I don't like the Return of the Jedi radio series?
Oh.
It's has nothing to do with the actors or the content or anything. It feels rushed. It's short. It's
Probably.
half the length
Yeah.
of the other ones.
It is.
And it just feels rushed.
Yeah.
I don't think Brian Daly wrote it.
No.
He wrote the other two. And I don't think anyone else was quite up to the task.
Yeah.
So, and that's my big beef with it.
But we have a third one here. July 1st, 1935. David Prowse was born. Who
The other
was
Darth Vader.
The other Vader. Vador.
Darth Vader. You got an
And-
ATM on that torso, light bright?
And once again, just like Brock, he had a lot of other roles in Star Wars. So hey, Jabberwocky, hey, I know he was in that.
Well,
Space
and he was
1999. Wow,
in. You can see him without all his
Yeah.
stuff on in Clockwork Orange.
Yeah.
He's the burly assistant who moves the guy in the
Yeah.
wheelchair around.
So yeah, lots of stuff for him too.
He's the Green Cross Code man. He told you to look
Yeah,
both ways
see?
before you cross the street.
The last person.
If you
almost.
lived in England.
The last person on this birthday list, July 5th, 1948, William Hootkins, whose character in Star Wars, I think, is... Come on, George, really? Porkins?
Porkins, yeah. So William Hootkins was one of those guys who wasn't getting a lot of work here in the United States as an actor.
Yeah.
And a whole bunch of them relocated to England to play Americans.
Yes.
And so anytime they needed an American,
Yeah.
they would cast him. And so yeah, he was Red Six, he was
Yep.
Porkins. He was in Superman 4. He was the dirty cop in Batman in
yeah.
'89.
Eckhart.
And
Yeah.
maybe the coolest way to see who he is beyond Porkins, where he's got the helmet on and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. He was one of the top men
Yes.
in Raiders of the Lost Ark. He was you
Two
had
guys.
the two guys being Laurel and Hardy.
Yeah.
If you look at the two of them, they basically look like Laurel and Hardy. He's the
Yeah.
Oliver Hardy stand-in.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, he's got like 100 and
Yeah.
something things under his belt.
Flash Gordon, baby.
Yeah.
He was on that too.
He did all sorts of stuff. But anything that was shot in England over a particular
Yeah.
time period, he got cast because he was an American.
Yeah. Oh, he was in the Young Indy Chronicles too. There you go.
He was. We just
Yeah,
saw
pretty
his
cool.
episode not too
Pretty darn cool.
not too long ago.
Okay, and then we have July 2nd, 1976 is when Charles Lippincott did the first public slideshow for Star Wars at WesterCon.
Woo! Before he ruined Comic-Con.
Before he ruined Comic-Con.
I love Star Wars. Don't get me wrong. I will firmly blame the Star Wars machine for destroying Comic-Con and making it a place
On
that
Star Wars?
all the movies have to go to promote themselves. Because nobody really did it before Star Wars.
Yeah.
It wasn't like
Yeah.
a really huge deal.
This is
And
true.
then Star Wars refined it. They did it, and then they refined it. And suddenly, like our friend Craig Miller would get called from a movie going, hey, you understand these comic book people. Go promote our movie down there. And Comic-Con's never really been the same. I'm really fascinated, and we talked about this last week, but I'm really fascinated to see how Comic-Con does this year, how much people enjoy it, because the big movies aren't promoting there.
Exactly.
Like DC Comics and Marvel are still going to be there, I think, but the Warner Brothers arm and the Disney arm of them that make the movies, not going to be there.
Yeah.
So I'm fascinated to see how it goes. None of us are going
Yeah.
this year, so
Nope.
we'll talk to you guys and see how you experienced it if you go.
Yep.
Because I'm feeling a little Obi-Wan Kenobi with Comic-Con. I'm getting a little too old for this sort of thing. It's such a fight.
I haven't wanted to go in the last 10 years.
Such a fight. If I were like presenting the Costume College Award or something, I would go.
Yeah.
If I were on a panel, I would go. But to just go hang out,
Yeah.
not so much.
Yeah. True. Our last, the last of this bit of, or not the last bit. This is next to last. July 4th, 1981 is when a time capsule was filled with all sorts of stuff from Lucasfilm and buried at Skywalker Ranch.
So, I want to say that it wasn't only Star Wars things; it was also Indiana
Yes,
Jones
at
things
Lucasfilm,
and other
yeah.
Lucasfilm.
Right.
Just because, like, if I heard that, I would think that it was just.
Right. But
even though you said.
But in
Lucasfilm.
1976, they got that ball rolling. And
Yeah.
to be fair, they understood, Charlie Lippincott and Craig and people like that understood how comic conventions worked. And so, like, when they did Star Wars and they had a display and they did a...
You went back a subject.
Did I?
Yeah, we started talking about the time capsule.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm
Time
sorry.
capsule.
That was really weird.
Got in reverse there.
That's...
So the time capsule had
Yeah.
Indiana Jones
Oh,
things
got
in
it.
it,
Yes.
not
Okay. Sorry.
yeah.
Yeah.
But my question is,
Yeah.
when are they opening the time capsule?
You know, it doesn't actually say, because I mean, George says, "I hope this time capsule lasts 1,000 years." So I don't know
Goodness.
when they're opening it. Generally, it's 50 years, I think, or something like that, 25, 50 years, and it doesn't really say in this article from Lucasfilm. But you know, who knows? I mean, it didn't have just Star Wars, like you said. There isn't just Star Wars things in there. There's like, they even have 2 Voyager 1 buttons are in there that aren't even Lucasfilm, you know, from the flyby. And then
Oh, well, Lucas loves
American
space
Graffiti.
stuff.
There's a whole list
Yeah.
of what's in
Yeah.
there
American Graffitis
on the Lucasfilm website.
Yep.
Yeah,
Small
Lucas...
sealed bottle with a label California crude oil.
George is a
Yeah.
huge
So-
buff of all sorts of things, and I
Yeah.
can see them just throwing
I
all
guess
sorts of
they
things in there.
didn't. You know, sometimes when they bury a time capsule, they say, "We will dig it up in X number of years."
Yeah.
And they just buried this. They didn't
Yeah.
set an end date.
So
So it's going to be really confusing 1,000 years from now when
Let's-
the people are like,
Yeah, I
these
know.
weird
What the-
religious objects. We don't know what they are.
Well, they had the original Lucite crew gift paperweights that you got for Star Wars, which were Lucite clear plastic stars
Yeah.
that said Star Wars and stuff on them.
They
The
had
Force
a
Whitaker.
Super 8 that had scenes from Empire Strikes Back.
Yep.
Nice. The Art of Star Wars
Yep.
books. I've got those up on the shelf.
American Graffiti and Star Wars cassette tapes.
Star Wars action figures.
Yeah.
A bottle of wine.
Yeah.
There's a walking R2D2 toy that
Yeah.
they put in there that's actually worth quite a bit of money these days. That's funny.
So
The
it's-
contract
it's
for
just-
American Graffiti.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Raiders of the Lost Ark crew cap.
That's cool. So I assume that they did this during another Lucasfilm tradition, which is the 4th of July company picnic, where basically everybody from all the associated Lucas companies go to Skywalker Ranch. They have a
yeah.
proper barbecue, and people play on the lake.
Yeah.
The Lake Ewok that's there, and they hang out on the beach, and they play volleyball, and they do all that kind of stuff. And it's always a big
Well, yeah,
to
more
do.
than likely. Yeah, I would think so.
And they've been doing it since 1978.
Yeah. The last on my list, July 3rd, 2002, is when, if I read it how it's typed here, it would be Dark House. But Dark Horse reprinted the original run of the Marvel Comics Star Wars. You know,
As
with-
collections.
Yeah, as a collection of paperback. And the funny part is now that Marvel is going to do the reverse. Marvel's going to be reprinting the Dark Horse Star Wars comics that they did.
Cool.
So, you know, yay!
There is a series coming up called Star Wars Skeleton Crew.
Yep.
And the creator, Christopher Ford, explained the reason why it fits perfectly into the Mandalorian timeline. And this article tells us that the it's a lawless wild time, so there's a
Yeah.
lot of danger.
Yeah.
And Jeff, do you have more information on this?
Well, he says he's basically he was saying also like a lot of danger. If we had said it earlier, then the Empire would have shut it all down. But
Well, and
but
it,
it's just a time period that they've been using for like the Mandalorian and such, like they mentioned. But
What's-
it's very ripe for use.
what's interesting is that they're setting this up with the lead character is actually a Jedi. And it's amazing exactly how many Jedi seem to have survived Order 66.
yeah.
But in this case, it's Jude Law, and so he's the figurehead of the series. And there's a whole slew of other people, like this really diverse cast, none of whom I've heard of.
Yeah.
Maybe Carrie Condon sounds a little
Yeah.
familiar, but it looks kind of interesting, and it's at least it's after Return of the Jedi,
Yes.
so
Yeah.
we'll
so
see.
the headline says that he reveals why it fits into the Mandalorian timeline.
Mm-hmm.
Is the why just that it's set in the same time period?
I think so. There's
Yeah.
there's
I
no
mean,
real explanation.
I've read the article
I
three
think-
times
I
now,
think it's.
and
I think his explanation is because they won't have to worry about the Empire. I think that's the explanation.
Right.
Yeah.
he says here he revealed that setting the series during the New Republic era allowed them to create a coming of age story
Yeah.
in which the kid characters can be able to freely explore the galaxy without the restrictions of the Empire.
Yeah.
Right.
Is it really supposed to be coming of age story, or is that a typo?
That's probably a typo.
I thought maybe there was something I didn't know about the
No.
term coming of age.
So John Favreau,
Yeah.
Dave Filoni, and Kathleen Kennedy are producing.
Yep.
Bryce Dallas Howard is directing at least one episode, as are Daniel Kwan and Daniel Scheinert, who did Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Cool.
So I have a question about Order 66.
Sure.
Laura says, I hope Grogu survives Order 66.
Oh, Grogu's well past Order 66.
That was my response
Yes.
to it. But then I thought, really, when was Order 66 over? Was it ever rescinded? Or if there was a clone trooper that survived
I think
to Episode 7,
mean-
would
no.
he
I think
still
what
be trying to kill
I
the
think
Jedi?
what happened was they went in and they removed all the chips from the clones who survived,
Yeah.
so that they could no longer execute
Yeah.
Order
I mean, if
66.
Okay.
I mean, and they also kind of explain it, in the Mandalorian. They show it in the Mandalorian.
Oh, I missed that.
This past season.
Yeah, I missed it. What,
it was
what
the
do you
one-
mean they showed
okay.
it?
It's way past spoiler time anyway. It's the one with Ahmed Best playing a Jedi that
Uh-huh.
he played in the kids game show thing.
Uh-huh.
Brought him back, and he's the one who basically helped Grogu and saved Grogu from Order 66 when it happened. And it was like
Right. He
Because
saved
Order
him
66
from
Anakin,
Anakin and the 501st Legion
Yeah.
going in and killing all the Padawans.
yeah. So
Yeah.
saved him from that. So technically, which is it's basically the same time frame. Order 66 happened. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So Grogu was, in fact, Laura was right. Grogu was concurrent with Order 66.
Yes.
Yes.
It's just that
because
in
he's
Grogu's
50
current
something
timeline,
years old.
he definitely survived it because
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not really
Got
a
it.
threat anymore.
No.
There's plenty of other people looking for him,
Yes.
right.
but it's not a big threat.
Yeah.
For
I'm
him.
for purposes of Star Wars, I play the part of everyman. So you two are the experts, and I am the everyman.
No worries.
Let's talk about theme parks.
Man, this was a
Okay.
bad week for theme parks.
It was a bad
First,
week for
geez.
roller coasters
Oh my goodness.
specifically.
God, it was so bad.
The first
Just
one's
to
not
get
too bad.
the first thing out of the way, we have three things to talk about with theme parks. The monorail and Soarin' Around the World are going down for refurbs pretty
Yeah.
soon in California.
Which is annual thing.
It's normal.
Yeah.
And I'm just taking a quick look to see they will temporarily close in July. So, and Toy Story Midway Mania is closing on July 17th.
Okay.
This is no big deal at all. This is just normal.
And
Yeah.
this article's
Yeah,
a little old, so
They do it
like
every year.
Soren is already closed, and it'll reopen July 14th.
Back when they said, "Oh, Indiana Jones is closed," I'm like, "Yeah, for refurbishment."
When is the monorail reopening?
I don't know, but it closes on Disneyland Day, on the birthday of Disneyland, on July 17th. It's a weird day to close it.
Oh, I
Yeah.
thought that was.
It-
Monorail will close on Wednesday. That
Yeah. And
it said will also.
oh, I
close on
guess
Wednesday,
Toy
which is-
Story Mania is closing down on July 17th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And-
Alice in Wonderland's going down too, I believe.
Right.
And Peter Pan should have just reopened.
Yeah.
And this article mentions that while the refurbishments are routine, they're less common during summer
Yeah.
and between Memorial Day and Labor Day. But honestly, do you guys feel like the peak seasons at Disney have kind of shifted?
Yeah, I mean it's hard to rely on stuff now with the reservation system and the way they're doing annual passes, where like
They have most of them blocked out.
so
for
many people are blocked out right
June
now.
through August.
Yeah.
And then it's weird because if you go look at the Disney attendance predictions for this summer, between the period when the annual passes are, most of them are blocked,
Yeah.
except the highest levels are blocked. The predicted crowds are Monday through Thursday.
Yeah.
Weird.
Fridays through Sundays are supposed to be less crowded, and that's because Disney blocked the annual passes, and then for the time that the annual passes are blocked, they sold a limited time 2-month Southern California pass that's
Oh, yeah.
only good Monday through Thursday.
Is it a pass
The
or is
hell?
it just like 3 visits and you're done?
It's probably 3 visits and you're done. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But I was surprised when I went and looked at the attendance calendar because
Yeah,
normally it's the other way around.
Well, and I would think that the years it was closed during COVID would sort of throw a kink into being able to predict that
Man, it's
stuff.
Weird.
This Los Angeles Times article, which I don't feel is written very well, does have one sort of pinpoint at the end, which is an upgraded Soarin' over California is scheduled to temporarily return in 2024.
Bizarre.
I wonder how and in what way they're going to upgrade that.
I don't know.
Maybe they're going to shine it.
I mean, yeah, I think at least when Chapek was in, and I don't know if the new if Bob 1.0 is scaling it back, but I think they wanted to try to make Disneyland more tourist, traffic.
More foreign traffic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's not
Less
really
locals.
and in the past that's not really how it's been. It's been
It's
locals.
It's local.
Yeah, and Disney World was the other way around. It's like very little locals and all tourists,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know what are they thinking. I guess they think they can do that, but I mean, maybe if they open another park or something would help it. Maybe I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, it's the difficulty is, and I see a fair number of international travelers at Disneyland.
Oh yeah,
I see
always.
a lot of people from different countries. And in fact, when I was there yesterday, it was really funny because we had some people who were like, I don't know, sort of influencer types that while I was trying to buy a hot dog, the guy in front of me in line was trying to take a picture of his girlfriend 20 feet away, and she's doing the boobs out, butt out, take a picture of me in the street kind of thing while he's trying to keep his space in line.
Yeah.
And they were, they looked like they were from Spain based on their clothes and accent and language and stuff like
Okay.
that. I mean, so people are coming from other countries and stuff. It's just local people come and hang out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
And they, they spend more, I think, than Disney thinks they do, because everyone I know, like, buys at
Oh,
least
yeah,
one
totally.
meal there while they're
Yeah,
there.
it's
and
not like they got meal plans.
they buy food and clothes and
Yeah.
stuff, and yeah.
Moving on to why it was a bad week for roller coasters in
Oh, dear.
particular. In North Carolina, there is a park that has the Giga roller coaster,
Oh, one of those, yeah.
which had to be shut down after there was a massive crack found at the top of the roller coaster.
It's just crazy.
Well, and
Whoa.
not just at the top. It is the load bearing support as the train comes around
Yeah.
the curve, and you can watch the thing separate by about 6 inches.
Yeah, it's like, oh, God.
which is nuts. And
So when they closed the ride down, they used what looks like saran wrap to hold the thing in place.
they put
Yeah.
industrial shipping wrap around it. I believe that is largely to keep moisture out of it.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
when they
literally.
go back to weld the thing together or replace it or do whatever they're going to do, they make sure that the entire tube hasn't filled with water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But nobody knows how long it's been that way.
It just,
Oh my gosh! If you go to the link, you can see a car going by
yeah.
with this broken strut. It's not
Yeah.
attached at all.
I'll show
It's
you.
not just that it's broken; it's completely separate.
I'll show you guys over on
Yeah.
on the video
Scary.
side of things. It's the Carowinds amusement park, and honestly, this
Yeah.
whole thing reminded me of Jaws.
Yeah.
Because it's 4th of July weekend.
Yeah.
The trains are running. This is broken, and you just picture the people in the park going, "No, it's cool. It's our busy season.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
fine."
So, and if you're wondering, a Giga coaster is a coaster is a complete circuit coaster that has between 300 and 399 feet in height, or with a drop within those boundaries.
Yikes!
And
So
as
that's
I
how high
understand
those
it,
goes, yeah.
it's a 90-mile-an-hour coaster. That's what I heard the speed was. The
that
actual-
video is
95,
freaky.
dude. Top speed goes to 95.
Yeah. The actual name of the coaster is the Fury 365.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
325, sorry.
Oh, good gravy.
But I mean, this is nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you look at the video that I've got showing on the video, you can just watch the thing move, man.
And for those on the radio, the car goes by on the piece of track, and the piece of track completely separates from its
The-
support.
the
you
structure
watch the
support
weight
is
of the
whoop.
car just shove it out of the way.
Yeah,
It's absolutely creepy.
Yeah.
yeah.
And nothing.
And you're like, yay! I'm not on
Yeah.
that.
Could you imagine
good
seeing
God.
that after you had just ridden the ride?
Yeah.
So supposedly they were going to put one of those in the knots, like a Giga coaster.
A Giga
Oh, yeah?
coaster?
And because I don't think Accelerator is technically a Giga coaster, I think it goes high enough, but they were going to put it on the back area that you can't see behind Ghost Town and such. That's where like the warehouses for costumes and stuff are. I think they're planning to relocate all that stuff and build there anyway.
Uh-huh.
But I think that plan got dropped like before this happened. But
The guy who noticed
Oh,
this
jeez.
and had to fight to bring it to the attention of the park
yeah,
because like he kept trying to tell people and they're like, yeah, okay, we'll tell somebody later. And it's like, no, now he ended up calling the fire department
Yeah.
and saying, you have to get there and stop this. So he and his daughter, who have annual passes to the park,
Yeah.
had ridden it 8 times that day.
oh God.
Oh my God! Wow. I can see how he wanted to make sure and calling the fire department. That was a
Jeez
good
Louise.
move.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they were leaving. He was in the parking lot and he looked up and he went, oh, that's not right.
Yeah. The fire department also had to show up at an amusement park in Wisconsin where the Fireball coaster got stuck with people in the car
Oh my God.
upside down for
Oh, it's one of these.
hours
Was
Yeah.
was
with
there
8 riders on it.
was there cheese involved?
Yeah, probably.
I don't
mean,
know if there was cheese involved. But
it's one of those carnival type ones. Is just a circle.
it's just a circle,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And they're like at the between 12 and maybe like 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
Is the cars, and it was
Oh
it
my
was
God.
full of people, and including children who had to wait. The first person was rescued 2 hours after
Jesus.
the ride first got stuck. And it was an hour and 40 minutes after that for all the remaining passengers to be rescued. So it was 3 hours and 40 minutes for some
Jesus.
people. And there was a little girl who they wanted to rescue first.
Yeah.
And she begged off and said, "No, please take that man. He's panicking."
Yeah.
And so they took the man who was panicking, and he's probably, there was one person who was taken to an emergency room.
Yeah.
I can
And
imagine
that may
having
have been
that much
that guy.
that much blood pounding into your head for
Yeah.
that long,
Yeah.
being
The-
upside down.
The girl told the rescuers to take an older man first because he was visibly struggling and appeared to have passed out at one point.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
The
it-
passengers were offered treatment by teams from a total of 9 ambulances. One patient was transported to a nearby hospital.
It looked like there's like 24 people who can be on that train.
And it mentions the other one.
It does. At the end of the article, it says, "This is the same week that this happened."
This is not the only
Yeah.
time that's happened. That's
Oh,
really
Oh,
funny.
geez.
There, I thought it listed how
Oh.
many people there were, but maybe not. But the reason why it took so long to get them down was because they had to wait for specialty equipment to arrive
Yeah.
because the release mechanism of the safety equipment, if you release one of the people out of the safety equipment, all of
Yeah.
the people in that car would be released at the same time. So they had to secure all of the people
no.
before they could let anybody
Yeah.
out. And it says per car, so that's, 4 or
Man.
6 people.
Well, and so one of the interesting things about it, I've got a video up in the background here, is that the people are seated in little clusters of 4 back to back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're facing the people who are opposite you,
Yeah.
and which has
But
got
not
to
in
be
the same car.
right, but not in the same car, and it's got to be like creepy to sit there and watch these people like hanging upside down and go "Wah," and like
Yeah.
getting all wiped out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it actually
my
tells
God.
us how many people were on the ride. I
Oh,
thought it
geez.
did, but I can't find it.
From the looks of it, let's see here.
10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. I'm pretty sure it was 24.
All right. And 5 of those were children.
Yeah.
2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. Oh, 20, I guess. Looks like 20 people. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's enough. And it's a small ride, but being stuck upside down in a loop,
Yeah.
uncool.
I have to say,
Yeah.
and this might be, apparently I'm frozen again.
Yep.
No, you're not. You're fine.
Okay.
Okay, it was
That's
just
weird.
it was just during that. During
Oh,
the
it was
video
just
there.
during the thing.
Yeah.
So, what was I going to say? I can't remember.
I don't know.
Oh, no,
Guillermo
apparently,
del Toro.
maybe you are frozen again. I don't know.
No, I'm moving again now, but maybe that's just a
Yeah,
backlog.
it was like
I think
a
it was just
festival, okay.
while the movie was going.
yeah. So it was
I
like
see.
like a county fair kind of thing is where this was.
That's what it was. Okay, so this might be completely politically incorrect to repeat this, but someone on Facebook noted that all of the people who are saying that they would never have gone in a submarine that was so janky to go visit the Titanic.
Right.
Sure, but you'll go on a roller coaster or a Ferris wheel that was set up by a meth addict in a parking lot in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So,
So,
yeah.
that's pretty funny.
Good gravy.
Okay. So that was it for theme parks.
Hooray!
Moving on to trailers.
My goodness.
So there was a teaser for Suicide Squad Isekai, which is an anime.
Yeah.
And do you know where that's going to be, Jeff? Is that Netflix or?
I don't
It's
remember.
Warner Brothers Japan.
Yeah.
No. So maybe it's coming to theaters. Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't really say. Basically, they're just like, it's a new animation from Japan, and it honestly looks like Warner Brothers going, look, we can do anime, which is,
it's not something that I will be seeing. Like,
Nah.
even if it was on Netflix, I don't think I would be seeing
nah,
it. 'Cause-
it just doesn't look interesting to me.
What about you, Jeff? Would you watch that?
It. I don't know.
Would you go to the theater?
It
to
doesn't.
watch it?
I mean, it's doesn't. Part of it's not exactly appealing to me, just because it's more. It looks like it's more based on the first Suicide Squad, because it's got the dumb Joker character and stuff in it.
Well,
so,
and it's exaggerated
And
in
I'm
a
like-
way that anime is.
yeah. So I don't know. It's a series, by the way, but I'm gonna hazard a guess that it will be it'll probably go on the Warner Brothers streaming service, whatever that's called now, Max or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
I imagine
don't
that's where it's going
know.
to stream at, since it's a series.
If they'd stop changing the names, wouldn't worry about it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Okay. On Maximum Effort channel, which is on Fubo, which is a streaming service that I think you can get free with commercials.
Okay.
Could be wrong on that. Apparently on June 20th. I don't have confidence in that date though, so don't
Yeah, I
quote me.
don't really understand that either.
There is something called Bedtime Stories with Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
And from the trailer, I do not trust Ryan Reynolds here.
It's posited as a thing that's happy, and
Yeah.
he doesn't give you that confidence.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. The June 20th date is the launch of the Maximum Effort channel on Fubo.
Yes.
On the Maximum Effort channel on Fubo, there will be Bedtime Stories with Ryan. It's a 15-episode series where he reads new and classic bedtime stories in an attempt to soothe your mind and soul, and also his own.
Yeah.
But I do not trust Ryan Reynolds.
Right.
I feel like it's going to, like I would have anxiety listening to that,
Yeah.
waiting for him to jump out and scream boo.
Yeah.
I like how he's.
Well, and another reason to not be too trustworthy of this stuff is that I can't find anything that indicates you can see anything on here for free beyond a free trial.
Yeah.
The packages Pro, Elite, Premier, and Latino. And this is basically cable TV for your computer.
Wow, that's expensive.
$75 a month, $84 a month.
What the hell?
94 $5 a month.
This is like
It's a
Canada
lot.
prices. What is this?
It's a lot. And it's basically cable television over your computer. 367 channels.
Someone says, is Fubo
Oh.
TV free with Amazon Prime?
I do
Oh,
not.
no.
it
The
is not.
Fubo Sports Network is available, not
What the
Fubo TV.
heck?
Yeah.
This
It's
Uh,
is bizarre.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It doesn't
It doesn't support 5.1 surround sound.
jerks.
Yeah.
Capital One wants to give me $7.50 back if I sign up for it. That's that credit card
Okay.
alert thing that shows up in your browser.
Right. Okay, so we're not going to watch that because we don't trust Ryan and he's too expensive.
We don't trust them and it's too expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coming to Netflix on July 28th is The Miraculous Ladybug and Cat Noir, the movie,
Yes.
which is animated superheroes.
Yes.
It's on Netflix.
Yeah, the series.
But the thing that this movie is on Netflix, the series is on Disney Plus, which is really weird.
it was on Netflix though before.
Was it?
Yes.
Oh,
Well, it's all on Disney Plus now,
Yeah, moved it over.
and has been for a long time apparently.
Weird.
Yeah, it's your usual kind of CG animated superhero.
Yeah.
Kids get magical powers by finding stuff thing. It's very French. It's
Yes.
set in Paris, and it's got a very French sensibility to it,
Yeah.
which is kind of interesting. That's the most interesting thing about it, I think.
yeah.
Honestly, though, it looks like any other kind of like Sailor Moonish anime project to me. So
and I don't
Looks
know
silly.
how but I seem to have missed this next trailer when I was watching
Yeah,
trailers.
'cause I threw it in there late. I found it while we were
Oh,
talking.
okay, that's
I
why.
threw it in there. Yeah.
Coming to Netflix on October 26th is another animated series called Pluto.
Yes.
Jeff, tell us about it.
It's to all intents and purposes, it's a lot like Blade Runner. There's except it's
And the
well, it's
animation
more
looks like
violent
Speed
looking
Racer.
because there's someone killing people. Like there's a murderer and they
It's a murder mystery.
and they're saying, well, it couldn't be an android because we made them so they couldn't do that. Blah blah blah. But then so
Yeah, they
you-
apparently
yeah.
follow Asimov's
Yeah.
laws of robotics.
Yeah. So the idea is like, well, then is it really a robot or is it a human? We don't know, and that's the whole point of the series. But yeah. And Pluto, I think, is like a young looking robot.
When
or
the
android.
world's 7 most advanced robots and their human allies are murdered one by one, Inspector Gesaik soon discovers that he's also in danger.
Yeah.
The animation in this looks like 1970s anime.
Very much so.
So
Yeah.
it doesn't look like modern anime. It
Yeah,
looks like
style.
1970s anime.
Yeah. Went back in style.
Yeah. Coming to theaters and Peacock Channel
Yeah.
on October 27th is Five Nights at Freddy's,
Yep.
which is
Based on the game.
If you played the video game,
Yeah.
you know exactly what this is
Yeah.
going to be.
Yep.
And it looks interesting.
Yeah.
It's a Blumhouse production,
Yeah.
which also kind of tells you what you need to know. But on the cool side of things, it's like if you've ever wondered what the heck would happen if the animatronics at Chuck E. Cheese went insane, this is it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You'll get exactly this. So it could be fun. This is a theatrical release and on Peacock,
Yeah.
right in time for Halloween.
Yes.
So
And it has Matthew Lillard in it. So hey, there you go.
it does looking not quite like himself.
Yeah. Yeah. He's like the head security guard person that hires him or something. The lead character. So.
Yeah, and it took me a while to recognize him.
Yeah.
Because his hair is short
Yeah.
and he's got a Weasley mustache. Mary Stuart Masterson is in it too.
Has a lead from I want to say Zathura. Was he in Zathura? I can't think of the kid's name, but he's not a kid anymore. He's older. But
Josh Hutcherson.
Yeah. I think he was also in like one of the Hunger Games.
He
or
was
something, too.
PETA in
Yeah.
the Hunger
Yeah,
Games, and he was in Zathura.
Yeah.
But he was the PETA Pocket.
Yeah.
The Pita Pocket.
PETA Pocket.
Sean, do you want to take the next?
I will
Section?
indeed. So we lost a few people this past week. Maybe the big one is at the age of 89 was Oscar winner and writer, director, playwright, theater actor Alan Arkin, who did so much stuff. He was like in everything. And very frequently, he did a lot with a very little. You just watch him like raise an eyebrow and go, "Whoa!" He was kind of incredible. But he got his Oscar for Little Miss Sunshine. But he was in Argo. He was in The Rocketeer. All sorts of really great projects with tremendous people. And he got his start as a Second City member of the comedy troupe doing improv stuff, and is really going to be sadly missed, because basically anything he was in, you kind of knew it was going to be worthwhile. He didn't take crummy projects. And interestingly, he only played one villain, and it bothered him so much. He was in a movie called Wait Until Dark, and he was terrorizing Audrey Hepburn, who was blind.
Okay.
And he just didn't like where he went with it. and so he never did another villain. He was just like, that was too dark for me. I didn't like it. And in fact, to counteract that, his next movie was like one of the worst choices in his career, which was the Inspector Clouseau movie as Inspector Clouseau with no Peter Sellers.
Weird.
Yeah, so that was kind of nuts. But anyway, really sad to hear of his passing. We lost actress and singer Coco Lee. She passed away at the age of 48, sadly, by her own hand. But she was born in Hong Kong, and she was the voice for Disney of Mulan, singing and performing the Chinese version. So that's very disappointing news to hear. And she's had amazing successes in her life and a long acting career and all this kind of stuff. But she'd been suffering from depression, and they couldn't raise her out of the coma that she put herself in. So very sad. That said, too, if just because we're talking about it, you can dial 988 on your phone, and you can get somebody to talk to about depression and suicide and crisis and things like that. So don't go this route, please. We like you.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people out here who will talk to you, including us. So, and then the last person to pass away this week at the incredible, just insane age of 101 is Marga Dean. And her name looks like Margia, but it's actually Marga. And gosh, she was a scream queen. She was a B-movie queen. Did performances with all sorts of amazing people in a variety of movies, like The Return of Jesse James and The Quartermass Experiment and things like that. She did a lot of westerns, and she played a lot of singing saloon girls because she was kind of curvaceous and had that kind of vibe. And but she did she had about 63 movies before retiring. She was in The Adventures of Superman, and I think she did early Superman stuff too at the beginning of her career. But she was in all sorts of romance movies and things. Lots of chorus girls, and anywhere they needed someone who could sing, who had her kind of vibe. So, but she retired in 1964, and born in Chicago, Illinois, and I think she died in Rancho Cucamonga, just sort of down the way.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because she came here to work, of course. But 101, man, you can't argue with that.
It's pretty good.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah. Before we go on to the speed round, I want to go back to Five Nights at Freddy's for a minute. Mela says that Matt was one of her students at Fullerton College costuming classes.
Awesome.
And he took the class with Chris Williams from Black Lightning.
Oh, that's cool.
Cool. That's awesome.
Mela, you've made Jeff's day.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Very cool.
Jeff, what else do you want to talk about?
Well, I'm going to talk about something that's should have been on our list, and I didn't put it there, so I'll put the link right now in both chats so people can read it or see it. It is Anthony Mackie for Captain America 4. Is that he forgot his lines when he was working with Harrison Ford. So he says, like, the first day was so intimidating. I was so, and I'm going to blank these out, so effing nervous. I couldn't remember my lines. He's Harrison effing Ford. There's this aura about him, but he dispels that really quickly because he's such a cool guy. He's everything a movie star should be. He would say, let's shoot this piece of... And everyone was like, yeah, let's shoot this. And so, and then they said they spent a lot of time together because Cap and Ross had always had that kind of relationship where they respected each other, but they bumped their heads. So that's kind of what the storyline, what they're going to be like in the movie.
Fun.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's cool.
Sean?
So per Richard Branson, Virgin Galactic launched its first commercial spaceflight last Thursday, sending 3 Italian researchers, 2 company pilots, and an astronaut trainer to the edge of space on their rocket plane.
I wonder after the whole Titanic thing how nervous these guys were.
Right?
How additionally nervous, because you're already going to be nervous being shot into space.
Was the ship 3D printed?
Right. I think it's made out of carbon fiber.
Right.
So, so the way this thing launches is they take up a plane,
Yeah.
and they drop it like a bomb.
Yeah.
And then it launches up into the higher atmosphere.
It's like a 3-pilot sort of situation, isn't it? Like one pilot on either side and the one pilot in the middle that comes loose.
Yeah, and now I remember seeing the X Prize test. I think David Milano and I went out to the desert to watch the launch of this thing and to watch it win the X Prize.
Okay.
We drove out to Mojave where they were doing their thing. And it was absolutely phenomenal to see, and the whole event. It was very much like Close Encounters, like all these crazy space people hanging out in the middle of the desert waiting to see something happen. But Spaceport America is where we went to do it, and so it's really interesting that they're finally starting to do this. But man, you're right, the timing is bad.
Yeah.
And it's at least. In this case, the people who went up, like you feel better about like the astronaut trainer and things like that. It's less of a rich manish kind of thing, because there were Italian researchers and then the pilots and then the astronaut trainer, so it can hold 6 people, had a full complement, but. Just that kind of adventure from the private sector seems really dodgy.
Yeah. It reminds me of there's a Heinlein story about the guy who basically invented, when Heinlein was writing these books in the 50s, he was the one who was supposed to have invented the method by which they were traveling into space.
Right.
And because he was so brilliant, the insurers would not let him travel in space.
So he couldn't go.
And the reason why he had it also had to do with his age, but the reason why he had invented it all was because he wanted to go to space, and it was a little heartbreaking little story. I don't remember the name of it.
It was pretty sad.
Yeah.
They're not saying how much this cost, but it's the whole trip from launch to landing, 14 minutes.
I want to talk about the Barbie movie. So in the trailer for the Barbie movie, there is a screenshot of a world map that's purportedly drawn by a child. It looks like it's drawn. One of those adults really drew it, but it's drawn by a child,
right.
in quotes. And it's Barbie standing in front of it. Mm-hmm. And so I don't know how much it's in the movie, but it's definitely there because you can see it in this screenshot. And off of the coast of Asia, there is a squiggly dashed line. And that squiggly dashed line has caused the Philippines and Vietnam to ban the movie from playing in their country. And that's because that dashed line represents an area of the ocean that's under dispute, and some islands that are under dispute on whether they're owned by China, Taiwan, the Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia, or Japan.
Oh, good golly.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's like there are different parts of it that are claimed by different countries. But if you look at the map of like who claims what. It's very complicated, and each of the areas is claimed by at least 3 countries.
That's
maybe.
weird.
It's
Yeah.
wild.
I'm
yeah.
I'm gonna throw the picture up here so
Doesn't
you
make any
can-
sense.
You can
know,
see
like-
it.
like, it's just a map. It doesn't
There it
even
is.
say.
It's well, it says Asia, and there's a little line coming off of it, and
Yeah.
Yeah, that little squiggly line
How
coming
l-
off of Asia.
how
is,
lame is that?
Yeah.
There's also a pound sign over there. What does
Yeah.
that mean?
I don't know.
Oh, dear Lord.
But if you scroll up, you can see the map of, if that's the link in our
Yeah, it is.
in our thread.
Yeah.
If you scroll up from there, that's the map of the disputed territories,
Yeah.
and you can see
Right.
all the different dashed lines in
Yeah.
different colors that are the different countries
I-
that are claiming those areas.
And they must have just
Gotcha.
put it in there because they thought it was funny, or conversely, it is just supposed to represent like the islands of the Philippines or whatever that's there. Because you know
Yeah, I don't know.
how
It's
weird.
bizarre.
Or it's supposed to be like, this is where we'll travel or something.
I know,
Who
right?
knows?
It could just be anything because
Yeah.
this is so vague down there. I just and honestly, I think that's really what it is. It looks like a travel line because there's a bunch
Yeah.
of other pink dashed lines on this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a pink dashed line over by, I don't even know what that's supposed to be up there. The green,
Yeah.
maybe Ireland? Iceland,
Or
Greenland.
Greenland or
Greenland,
Jeez,
maybe.
but I'm wondering
There's a
if,
sailboat.
I'm wondering if that line just continues on the other side of her.
That we
Like,
can't see.
This
yeah.
is our trip around the world. you know,
Yeah.
whatever.
Who knows? Or maybe they have a geopolitical discussion in the middle of the movie.
Right,
And
sure.
these
'Cause
people are.
how are you
angry
gonna
at
how are
it.
you gonna educate people
Yeah.
through Barbie?
And apparently
Oh, good
Vietnam
gravy.
also banned DreamWorks' 2019 animated film Abominable, Sony's 2022 film Uncharted, and the 2021 Australian spy movie Pine Gap.
Oh, good grief.
Whatever. People are touchy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Vietnam.
So very
Jeff?
touchy.
Good old fun Vietnam, I tell you.
And Eric makes a good point, which is digitally remove the stupid line.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Again with Anthony Mackie, two in a row. Anthony Mackie actually went through. He actually wanted to play a different character before they ever even before Marvel even considered. I don't know if they considered or they were anywhere near making this other character, but he actually wrote many letters to Marvel just so they would actually make Black Panther as a movie. He wanted them to make it, and then of course he wanted to be T'Challa too,
Right.
and play the
Right,
part.
right.
But he was mainly concerned with just getting it made. He's like, I want them to make this thing. So I don't know how long they wrote, how many letters he just wrote. He says, I wrote them letters. So who knows how many? He
Good.
could have just blanketed that office.
Yeah.
Another one from Mackie. But
Whatever works.
yeah,
Right.
so
That's really
Sean?
funny. So periodically we talk about doing an event at the California Science Center, most frequently Yuri's Night, which happens in April for Yuri Gagarin. And the party that we have there, that we take place in costume, is underneath the Space Shuttle Orbiter Endeavour, which was awarded to the museum, and they've had on display in a temporary structure for many years now, much longer than you would imagine a temporary structure to last. The difficulty was that they were trying to raise money for their final structure so that they could raise the thing into its final form, which is in an upright launch position, because not only did they get the orbiter, which they flew around LA on a victory lap
Yeah.
before they landed it and trucked it through the streets of Los Angeles to get to the Science Center, they also got the fuel tank and the solid rocket boosters.
Yeah.
And so the idea is they're going to put it all together. They're going to upend it, pointing into space.
yeah,
And they're going to give you gangways and stuff to go check out, look in the cockpit, do whatever. Stuff you haven't been able to do with it just parked on the support in the, I think it's the Samuel Ocean Pavilion is where they've had it. And So they're shutting everything down. They're finally getting ready to do this. They told us a couple years ago that the Yuri's night we did was going to be the last one under the shuttle. They told us this year that it was going to be the last one under the shuttle, and apparently that's true. They're really doing it. All of the shuttle orbiters got awarded and sent around the country. I'm excited that we've got one here, and I'm very interested to see what they're going to do.
So movies coming out this week are going to be on that we've talked about on the show. On tomorrow, coming to Netflix is The Outlaws, and next Wednesday, Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1 is coming to theaters.
Cool.
Sean, you want to wrap us up?
Certainly. You have been listening to sci-fi.radio, sci-fi for your Wi-Fi. If you're hearing us over on any of the radio apps or through the webpage directly, go there to check out nerd news and other stuff like that, our operating schedule. I'll be on the air tomorrow from 9 to 11, wrapping out my morning show, which is Good Morning Tatooine. It's music history, and we hang out on Discord and we goof off, and it's generally a pretty good time. Good way to start your morning. It's 9 a.m. Pacific and 12 p.m. Eastern Time. You could be watching us on YouTube or Facebook or Twitch. We're grateful wherever you happen to catch us. Even if you're not watching us live, if you come to us later on, that's great too. Leave a like or subscribe or do whatever you can to let us know that you were there, because we really do appreciate when you are there. This show represents the first show of a 12th year, which is pretty amazing. We do anywhere between 45 and 52 of these things a year, depending on how much we goof off and when our vacations fall. And it's crazy. We don't get paid for this. We do it because we like to hang out with you guys. And for you guys who have been doing it, if any portion in the last 11 or 12 years, thank you so much. On behalf of Kit, Boba-Kit, Sovine, who does all our social media and stuff, thank you, Kit, for all the work that you do. We're very appreciative, even though we don't get to tell you all the time.
I'm Colleen Kaylee Crosby.
This is Jessel Donoho.
I am Sean Obi-Shawn Crosby. As always, may
the
the Force be with you. Let's get some credits for people. Did you know that we have a theme that was written by Chris Cosmomoose Medway?
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome. He's at cosmomoose.bandcamp.com. That's what keeps us from getting dinged all the time with a song that YouTube wants us to remove. Okay, video people. We'll see all y'all later on.